everybody for coming, and thanks to the conference organizers for having us here. It's been a great conference so far. I'm Chris Donaldson. I'm going to introduce you to three of the newer companies in the Inventa Capital basket. The first being Vizsla Copper, where I'm the CEO and president. About a year ago, Vizsla Silver, that you just heard from, spun out a couple of their early stage copper assets, and they were exploration assets in British Columbia in Canada, and we formed Vizsla Copper. So first of all, at Inventa, we're huge copper bulls. Copper really is the backbone of the energy transition that we're experiencing right now. I've yet to see any kind of reports that doesn't offer copper in a favorable light in the next decade. So in that vein, we've analyzed probably over the last 18 months, dozens and dozens of copper projects. And in December, we were able to close on a transaction called Woodjam and really start launching this company. Woodjam is located in a prolific copper-gold porphyry district in central British Columbia. And that company, or that acquisition, has set us up to take advantage of what we think is a generational opportunity in the copper space. As Mike outlined, we're backed by an incredible team, a team that's taken a number of projects and companies from our size right now into, in some cases, into billion-dollar company, market cap companies. So the opportunity at Woodjam is unique. It's a project that saw a lot of attention up until 2013. Goldfields owned it up until that point. Then they pulled out to focus more on gold. And in the last decade, it really hasn't advanced much. We're fortunate enough to have a historic resource base from which to start with, but we're probably more excited about the potential upside, or the upside that is in this world-class porphyry district. So highlights of the property are its size and location. Woodjam is a district scale. It's 64,000 hectares, of which only 10 to 15% has been explored to date. It's within 60 kilometers of the Gibraltar mine and the Mount Polley mine. It truly is copper gold country here. In central British Columbia, it's an area that's flat, it's road accessible, and it's an area that we're able to drill year round, which is not always the case in British Columbia. That's a huge advantage in time and cost if you're an exploration or development company. So Goldfields spent over $30 million on the project, and that added up to about 120,000 meters of drilling. As such, there's kind of two parts to this story. What we know in the known deposits, which make up the historical resource, and also the upside and the unknown targets that we hope to explore on. So to underpin the project, we have an existing resource of about 1.7 billion tons of copper and almost 1 million ounces of gold. It's divided into three zones, and what kind of differentiates ourselves from BC Copper is that each one of those seems to have a really high-grade core. Oops. I think I went too far. Oh, there we go. Anyways, I think we missed a slide there. Anyways, so in summary, what you should know about Woodjam is that we're going to start our drilling campaign in June of this year. We'll be reconfirming the historical resource and also hitting some of the newer targets that we're quite excited to be on. So VCU, Vizsla Copper, high-grade copper gold project. We're actively drilling in the next couple of months, and it's in a prolific copper gold district in BC. Okay, our second project is the Archer Exploration. I'm not involved at the executive level, but I'm a dedicated shareholder. So who is Archer? Archer is an exploration company focused on nickel, copper, cobalt, platinum group of metals. It's focused on the exploration and development of its nickel sulfide properties in Quebec and in Ontario and Canada. The company's flagship asset is the Grasset project, located within the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. In addition, the company also holds a strategically significant portfolio of 37 properties on over 300 square kilometers of the world-class mining district in Sudbury, Ontario. I'll also add that the company trades on the Canadian Stock Exchange under the symbol RCHR, has about 90 million shares out. Market cap right now around $20 million, $10 million in the bank. So they're just getting started as well, but tremendous opportunity here. Okay, so the flagship property is the Grasset Nickel project, which it owns 100%. It's got an indicated resource of 5.5 million tons at 1.53% nickel equivalent. Interestingly, the Grasset project was discovered by accident. The previous owner was exploring for gold and did a step out about 500 meter out and accidentally discovered nickel, and that was in 2012. So further work along the trend resulted in the GUC Central discovery, which hosts 950 meter thick favorable stratigraphic package with several horizons of nickel sulfides. More work is going to be done on that in the drill program this summer. But based on the limited work to date, this corridor has excellent potential for multiple deposits similar to that of Raglan, Kambalda, and other nickel camps. So the Grasset nickel deposit has two high-grade sulfide bearing horizons within ultramafic host units. The map on the right here, it shows you the horizon 3 in bright red and then horizon 1 in the yellowish green in parallel. The H3 lens has a currently defined 500 meters strike length and hosts the bulk of the high-grade mineralization. No red flags so far on the nickel metallurgy based on the preliminary work, which is a bonus. In our winter program on this one, we'll test these horizons at depth and explore for additional massive sulfide lenses. And actually of note there, if you look at the red dot, which is the pilot hole, that's where we'll be targeting the deeper massive sulfides. So the existing resource has a defined vertical depth of about 600 meters. However, Archer will be testing to find more nickel at depth, including a planned 1,500 meter drill hole, where directional drilling will be used to test for mineralized extensions efficiently from this main pilot hole. What's impressive to me is the massive sulfide grades of greater than 14% nickel within H3 in the section shown here in the center of this slide. Archer's also got has a large Sudbury portfolio. This is an underexplored land package with significant blue sky potential. For Archer, the high priority offset dikes are the focus. Some of the radial offset dikes have considerable untested discovery potential. So Archer Exploration, or RCHR, nickel, copper, cobalt, platinum group metals focused exploration company and development company in Quebec and Ontario. Kind of three main points. We've got a very focused exploration program that is funded. It's a $20 million market cap with $10 million in the bank, which seems like a pretty good opportunity to me. Archer. Okay. Last but not least is Tin One Resources, and I'm the executive chairman of Tin One. I'm particularly excited about this company. I was actually down in Tasmania earlier this week, and we spent some time with the crew on the ground and exploring the property. This is a picture right from the top of one of the properties. I am going to outline a few things for you. One, the reason we like tin, and two, talk about our recent drilling results. And three, talk about how we stumbled upon lithium just recently in the last month. So to start, Tin One holds a basket of properties in northeast Tasmania, where we control 5 of the 7 tin occurrences and have a dominant land position. We love Tasmania, especially in the northeast, as all the properties are located in an area that was either a past tin producing district or forested. All of the properties that we have are currently zoned for future commercial production. So if you put your development lens on, it's about as clear of a pathway to development as you can get. Okay, so we started assembling this land package about 5 years ago when nobody cared about tin, but actually Mike and one of our geologists read an article from MIT which stated that tin is actually going to be the metal that is most impacted by electrification. So we started assembling these packages. Nobody cared about tin until about 3 years ago when that thesis started to play out and the price started to rise. It peaked, well hopefully it hasn't peaked forever, but it peaked in March of last year at over 51,000 a ton. A lot of excitement came back in the tin market. Unfortunately, the tin market is very small and is affected by changes. The price wavers quite dramatically, so it's pulled back a little bit from now. However, the long-term outlook for tin is very, very positive, very similar to copper. The main use of tin is in solder. Over 50% of the use is in solder. It really is the glue that holds batteries together. What's also interesting is the supply. About 80% of the supply comes from areas like DRC, Indonesia, and Myanmar. We're seeing more emphasis on critical metals coming from clean jurisdictions, and some of these have, those places mentioned, have kind of lax ESG requirements. So having a solid project in a good area such as Australia is absolutely coveted. So our primary focus has been on our project called Great Pyramid. Great Pyramid is a hill. We were just up there. You're able to drive right on top of it. There's logging roads everywhere. It's a fantastic place to be building on a mine. That project has a historical resource on it that stopped advancing in the mid-'80s. It's fairly small, about 10,000 tons of contained tin. So we did a drilling program, did 5,000 meters, and basically try to do three things. One, confirm the historical resource. Two is to test at depth and also test laterally. And all assays have now been released, and everything was very, very positive. We found mineralization down over 200 meters. Just outside the historical pit, we hit 80 meters at 2.5 times the grade that we have, and is still open in all directions right now. So very promising on that. We're in the process right now of updating our resource, which should come out in the next few months. And while that was going on, we started doing some preliminary work on our second project, which is Aberfoyle. And Aberfoyle, you may have heard of it if you're in the tin space. It's a historic tin producing district, produced over 2 million tons of tin and tungsten. It was shuttered in the mid-'80s when the tin price collapsed. Back in those days, they were basically just chasing high-grade veins. So we went about and tried to do some more modern techniques, and so we've been doing a lot of sampling and mapping on the project, looking for tin and tungsten. We also did some multi-element testing, and this is where it's kind of become quite interesting. We found some very high levels of lithium, over 1%, 1.1%. And that has really gotten the attention of a number of companies. It's also got the attention of the university there, Codes, as well as the MRT. These are 4 times higher grades than any other lithium find in Tasmania before. So this is an incredible opportunity for our company. It's still early days, but we're now doing an extensive mapping program looking for these lithium micas to see if we potentially have a district here. So that's tin 1. So you've got tin and lithium in Australia, 2 of the most impacted metals with electrification. Coming up, we're going to have an updated resource on our tin project. Hopefully that'll give us a re-rating. And then potentially we've got a district-scale lithium discovery at Aberfoyle. So certainly exciting times, lots of news flow coming up. So with that, thank you guys for taking the time here. I'm happy to be able to give a little snapshot of Visa Silver, Visa Copper, Archer, and Tin 1. As Mike said before, we'd love to chat with you more. We're at booth 54, which is the big star right in the middle of the conference here. So thanks for having us, and take care.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Chris.